My name is Kiku Collins and I am a trumpet player. I started playing trumpet in the 4th grade. The teacher said to me, you should probably play the clarinet or the flute, you know, more ladylike. And I have been playing ever since. I went to Manhattan School of Music to study classical trumpet with Mel Broyles. Eventually, I found my voice in the pop, commercial, disco, anything that glitters world. Which definitely fit my personality a little more. I started off touring with Beyonce in 2006. I toured with her for about a year and I popped over to the Michael Bolton world. I played and sang with him for about 3 years or so. And of course, in between all of this, I'm freelancing, I'm doing little TV things here and there for other artists. But I have been playing with Gloria Gaynor for almost 6 years now. 75% of the gigs that I do are all turning points where I say, there's no way this could get any better. But of course, 2 of the most epic gigs I've ever done were at the White House for President Obama. It is pretty amazing when you get to walk up to the most amazing president ever and shake his hand, and he looks you right in the eye and he says, "It's nice to see you." He didn't even say meet, "It's nice to see you." And then the second time, he remembered me from the previous time. So I'm going, what? When I said hi to Michelle, we had almost the same dress on. And she's, hold on, we're wearing almost the same dress. I was like, it's probably not the same dress. It was amazing. And so, you know, I stood next to her in the picture and we were all matchy-matchy. I can't believe my life, honestly. I had gotten married almost 6 years ago. It was pretty amazing, it was magical. A month after our wedding, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a little nuts actually, because you know, after such a happy thing, you're thinking, this is great, I'm starting my life over, and it's like, oh, that's not how I meant to start it over. Of course, you know, I had all these bookings, I had all this work, I was at a 5-week gig. It was so crazy when this all happened. When we first met with the breast surgeon that we had picked, my first thought is, okay, how do we fix this? He said, well, you know, we need to schedule a surgery. And I looked at him, I said, man, I'm gonna have to cancel some really cool gigs. And he said, no. I said, but I'm dying. He said, yeah, we have to move, but what do you have? And I said, well, I have 2 television shows to tape. He said, okay. My mastectomy was 2 days after that second TV show, which was good because my brain was so overwhelmed and occupied that I couldn't think, oh, poor me, you know. I mean, it sucked, but I didn't have a moment to really think. In my business, I didn't want to tell people what was going on because I've seen it happen to other people where they basically get written off. So while I was recovering from my mastectomy, I'm, you know, walking around with the drains, it's all disgusting and I can barely move. I felt so hopeless, like what could I do? And then the 2 shows that I had just taped aired while I was recovering. So nobody knew because they saw me, you know, oh, she's doing great. You know, this is, you know, oh, there she is again. I was hobbling around like an old lady at home, like, oh my God, I'm in so much pain. When I came back into the scene, I was, you know, starting my reconstruction and still didn't tell anyone. Then I started going through radiation. Didn't tell anyone. The radiation was awful. But because I hadn't been telling people, or I had to keep my game face, because that's what I do, we finally came out of the cancer closet, as I like to call it. There's a brass players trade magazine called the Brass Herald, published out of England. We were interviewed for that magazine. And I had been in it a few times before, but they interviewed us as a couple. So on the front cover, you know, you see this picture of the 2 of us and oh, that's so cute. Yeah, they got married recently, blah, blah, blah. But then you open it and you start reading the article and you're going, whoa, hold on, what? It's not about really being a musician. This is about getting cancer. That's how we basically told the world. It's been this ongoing rocky road ever since. I won't say that I stopped certain treatments because of my career, but it definitely was a factor. I lost me. It sucked. But I've been able to pretty much do almost everything I would have done. A little harder now, but what am I gonna do? I'm on more of a holistic path now, which kind of goes back to my mother's roots, which I really like. She was not a huge fan of Western medicine. My mother came here to the United States from Fukuoka, Japan. She met my father when he was in the military, got married in Japan, and that was back in the 60s. The 60s in America were very different than the 60s in Japan. This was the era of powerful women getting towards that gender equality, and knowing my mother's personality, absolutely perfect. It wasn't just about acceptance, it was about really embracing it. That was a struggle of hers growing up, you know, being very independent and very stubborn and not really being welcome as that character. They moved to New Jersey. That's where I was born. The only person other than my brother that looked like this half Japanese, half German, Scottish, English, Native American. Feeling like I'm in this place where I'm allowed to do things that my mother couldn't do. There were still obstacles, like playing the trumpet as a woman was not smiled upon. My mother really integrated so well. She was the mom who went on every class trip, came in and taught the kids how to do origami. I mean, I have friends that still talk about that. Hey, I remember when your mom taught me origami. She was a really good cook, but she could cook anything. And I think that's another thing that moving here, that's a gift that she got from this country was, wait, there's more than just Japanese food. This is great. And so she, made killer Hungarian goulash, which I now make. When I was in grade school, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer. She lived with it for 10 years. But I think one thing that was really important to her was she had a network of people. She had doctors that really, really loved her. And you're allowed to talk about it here. And actually, her sister did pass away from it. I remember my mom came home one night and she said, oh, I was just talking to so-and-so and she's getting reconstruction. If she were in Japan, she wouldn't have had that conversation. I was basically raised to believe that I can just do things. And when you get a call to play at the White House, you think, well, of course I can do that because my mom took piano lessons and she threw pizza in the air. When you're born and raised here, to parents who were born and raised here, this is kind of taken for granted. I mean, you can push everything in this country. If you want to do something, just go do it. That doesn't happen over there. That doesn't happen in most places. And I travel the world. I just think I'm so lucky. If I weren't born here, I wouldn't be a musician. I probably would have been scared off before I started. I don't know where I would be or what I would be doing, but I'm guessing I wouldn't be as happy as I am. I mean, that's my mom. This is my life. I have a voice and I can say, I don't agree with you. I'm pretty sure you can't do that everywhere. And if you can, where do you find that strength to go ahead and do it? You know, you need an example, and one of them was my mother. This is my American dream. I mean, this is it.